Explain in 8th grade language the Huberman story. The article is about Andrew Huberman, a scientist and professor at Stanford University who has a very popular podcast. Huberman's story started with a difficult childhood, but he overcame his challenges through therapy, science, and exercise. Now he's not just a regular teacher, he's also a big deal on the internet, especially for talking about how our brains work and how we can feel better in our lives. Huberman talks about complex brain stuff like dopamine, which makes us feel good, and gives advice on things like how to sleep better, on why coffee before exercising can be helpful. People really like his show because he explains things clearly without making them too simple. He also talks about the importance of taking care of our mental health and believes in therapy a lot. He even shares some of his personal struggles to help others understand that it's okay to have hard times and that we can get through them. True. Ethical concerns. Sharing personal stories for influence. Huberman uses his tough past to connect with listeners. This is mostly good, but it's important to ask if he's using these stories to make people trust him more and buy whatever he's selling or promoting. Number 2, scientific responsibility. As a scientist and professor, Huberman has to be really careful about what he says. If he talks about science stuff as if it's 100% true without enough proof, it could mislead people. Number 3, product endorsement and bias. If Huberman is suggesting certain products or routines, we should check if he's being paid to do so or if he genuinely believes they're helpful. It's not right if he's pushing products just for money. Number 4, influence and power. Huberman has a lot of followers, which gives him a lot of power. It's ethically important that he uses this power responsibly and doesn't take advantage of his listeners' trust. Podcast Andrew Huberman juggles stunning number of affairs, report says. However, a recent report has come out that's not about his science work. Instead, it talks about his personal life, saying he was dating many women at the same time without them knowing about each other. So that's what it is. These women thought they were the only one he was seeing, but they found out he was seeing others by sharing messages and photos he sent them. They noticed he would be with one woman and then quickly move on to another in a very organized way, like he was scheduling them. This report has made a lot of people surprised and upset because they didn't expect this from him. Honesty. It's important to be honest in relationships. If someone isn't, it can hurt other people's feelings really badly. Trust. People looked up to Huberman because he's a scientist and teacher. When someone you look up to doesn't tell the truth, it can make you question other things they say or do. Yeah, it's hard. Respect. Every person deserves respect. This means being upfront with them, especially in personal relationships. The situation is a big deal because it's just not about personal life. It affects how people see his professional life too. It reminds us that the actions in our private lives can have a big impact, especially when we are in public eyes. Ladies and gents, let's talk about Andrew Huberman. On the cover of New York, Carrie Howley on Andrew Huberman. Falling for Dr. Huberman. New York Times, The Daily Beast, podcaster Andrew Huberman juggled stunning number of affairs. Latest, actually, an hour ago. This is right now, it's trending. Who is podcast guest turned star Andrew Huberman? Really? Should we read this? And then I'll come back to X. Then I'll give you my 2 cents as well. A little bit relatable. Everyone's talking about him. Hey, my dad stopped drinking because he watched Andrew Huberman. Okay. I discovered Andrew Huberman not too long ago, actually. I don't watch him religiously. I just watch a few podcasts, and I literally mentioned The Diary of CEO, a lot of weird stuff, like experts, so-called. When I'm like, coffee does this, Diet Coke. They were talking about Diet Coke, and then money-making stuff. When those stuff, when I can relate to those niche, right, industry, when I see some weird things, I'm like, hold on, doesn't add up. So hence, I'm able to talk. Not just because of I'm pulling things out of my, no, because I've experienced it personally, and I can give you my 2 cents. So when I talk about alcohol, before I go totally off on a tangent, I have 2 DUIs. Well, I fought once, both of them, but I kind of beat the second one. But I've been through this so-called, I don't know if I'm an alcoholic or if I was an alcoholic, but I attended AA classes. It's been a journey. They put me on a, weird stuff. Therapies, this, that. They said I was so-called bipolar. They put this, alcohol monitor for 6 months on my leg. It's not like day, but I had to go through some weird shit. And I just stopped drinking and I just realized that, because it was all a lie. So I guess that's why I don't like liars. And because when people can tell you the truth and you act according to that, it's awesome. But when people lie, or whatever, right? So I have a very different story. Anyway, thanks for listening. Had to share, right? There you go. That's my therapy. Now let's talk about Andrew Huberman, who is podcast guest. Okay, let's actually check on New York Magazine. And I'm not saying anything that he's bad, he's good. I'm just going to keep that aside. But I can understand the alcohol, the struggle, whatever side, right? And I don't think I was really an alcoholic. I was a very professional drinker. I don't know. That's what I used to call myself. Nobody could compete in a way. Like I used to drink every day. It was some time back, but it was decade maybe, I guess. So yeah, it's a very hard challenge, believe it or not. I see the difference the clarity, whatever you want to call it. It's not just alcohol. Any drugs you want to talk about, I would just say stay out as much as possible. If it's not helping you achieve anything, literally, take your pills, go for it. If you go get checked and stuff, you know this is what you have, whatever. But always try to stay. For me, I prefer holistic, organic, man. I have my own way of thinking, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just gonna present my information, and you take it the way you want it, okay? Pro diets and the masculine branding of fitness culture. People got mad at this dude because he took a sponsor from the some athletic whatever, green, which is kind of irrelevant, I guess. Yeah, that's something one I know. And then of course he's known for this alcohol thing, and yeah, he's a neuro, and I'm gonna come to that in a second. All right, so let's actually check this out. How about that? Andrew Huberman's mechanisms of control, the private and public seductions of the world's biggest neuroscientist. And he literally grew real quick to some extent. For the past 3 years, one of the biggest podcasters on the planet has told a story to millions of listeners across half a dozen shows. There was a little boy, and the boy's family was happy. Okay, wait, why am I going to read this now? Is this his story? Falling. This was the issue, basically. Falling. So he was having simultaneously, multiple affairs, right? And see that? Sober advice. Millions of people feel compelled to hear him draw distinctions between neuromodulars and classical neurotransmitters. I mean, those are really high level stuff. I just used the high several times. Man, I'm fasting. I'll start fasting in a few hours. So 2 hours, 1.5 exact. Yeah, 1.5 exact. So my energy is a little low today. My T level is a little low today. So please bear with me. And I like to do this raw, or else I have to just again restart, which doesn't make sense, right? I don't do scripting, but these are very high level stuff, okay? I'm not in that intellectual, that level. I'm more of a hands-on, practical. I get my hands dirty, behind the scene. I create like AI stuff, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they have all this high stuff. Hey, weed is bad, marijuana is bad, or caffeine is bad. Well, I would say, I drank every day for like a decade, or this, and not only just Budweiser or Bud Light piss water. It was very high levels, and my tolerance level to all of these extreme high. Yet I could come back to what I want just because I hated lies, and I realized that lies can do more damage to whatever you want to call it. And that's why I guess a lot of people don't want to give you the truth. And also, humans are not truth-seeking animals. We're like social animals. We always put social first. I'll mention this: mindset first, then health, then wealth. People are focused on the social shit first, the materialism stuff first. Nothing wrong, I guess. Like, people have different ways of doing things, right? Many of those people will then adapt an associated protocol. They will follow his elaborate morning routine, and also the morning routine. He's known for the morning routine, the alcohol, the sober stuff, motivation, and they will follow his elaborate morning routine. They will model the most basic functions of human life: sleeping, eating, seeing. Sleeping is extremely important. Let me tell you this. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure how it correlates to weight loss. I mean, I did lose like 40 something pounds, and I'm not here to talk about me and all that stuff, but I will talk about my journey later on. But that's why I'm giving you some of this for context, so you can understand how I can relate. Like, I gained weight, I lost weight, I went to so much of here and there. I tested my body, and I believe I do certain things that I haven't seen anybody do, at least not in my family or friend circle. So hence I was like, you know what, am I so crazy? Or maybe I can find some other people out there. And then you find Andrew Huberman and some of the likes, Lex Fridman, and then you listen to them, see their point of view, and you see if it aligns with mine to some extent. And then I see, okay, hold on, based on my personal experience, I still have an open mind. But when I say, okay, it doesn't add up, maybe it's different for others. But then you go research and see other people thinking, agreeing to my points of view. I'm like, okay, now makes sense. And why do everyone have this? One thing which is very different for me is maybe it's because of, I don't know, my faith I follow, or what I try that guides me. Like, it's the sexual thing, the seeing, the social seeing, sex trafficking, propagandas. Like, it's always related to something like sex. He had no issues whatsoever, but just because he was sleeping with so-called alleged, I guess, 6 other women at the same time or whatever, I don't know. What if he didn't have those? Would it make him a better person? I mean, I don't know. Just asking you. You be the judge. Check this out. They will model the most basic functions. Yeah. Sleeping, eating, seeing, and eat less. On his sober advice, they will tell their friends to do the same. He's not like other bro podcasters. They will, what? He's a term Stanford professor associated with Stanford. He knows the difference between a neuromodular, blah, 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 blah. He's just back from a solid tour. Okay, good. Hold on. Again, I talked about the coffee here, and this is what it is? Yeah. There you go, God. Thank you for showing me this. His podcast is revelatory largely because it does not condescend, which has not been the way of public health information in our time. It does not give the impression of someone diluting science to universally applicable sound bites for the sobering masses. clubbing muscles. Dopamine is vomited out into the synapse, or it's released volumetrically. Man, I gotta make this big. Yeah, man, old fart. I need some coffee right now, actually, caffeine. But then it has to bind someplace and trigger those G protein coupled receptors, and caffeine increase is the number. The density of those G protein coupled receptors is how he explains the effect of coffee before exercise in a 2 hour. Yeah, I mean, if you can stay away from everything, it's good. I always mention this. I'm a more holistic person. I do my best to stay away from whatever is possible. But yeah, take your pills, whatever is necessary to take you forward, all right? But know what you're doing, what you're putting in your stomach. For me, it's very important. But when people say this kind of stuff and then they contradict themselves, right? I mean, when you see a huge dude, like, I'm not saying him, but I'm just saying, and comes and claims, I'm not going to come and claim, hey, you can get six pack and this. But I can tell people this is the principle because I've done it quite a few times. I've tried juicing. I've tried quite a few things. Juicing means not like jacking up. Juicing is juicing for the vegetable juicing and all that stuff. I have a juicing group actually on Facebook. It's the largest one with 40,000 members. The fact, I'm barely active. And I see all these people shilling and some of the posting, hey, how do you lose weight with this? Or hey, how do you cure this? They're people trying to cure so-called cancer with juicing. I'm like, man, don't give weird, stuff to people, like advice when you are not professional. Even professionals are like so-called, I call them out. I call so many people out because I know what happened behind the scenes. Like, so maybe the average so-called Joe, when I say average Joe, I'm an average Joe too. But the only difference is I create and I see things differently, obviously, behind the scenes, versus you might be working 9 to 5 and other stuff, right? So I'm saving you the time. I do all the research and I see this thing has happened. 17 years, grifters in the intermarketing field, people like SBF, nobody suspected him, made billions, then goes to jail. So things can happen. And I'm just giving you context because I have an open mind. Just because falling for a Huberman. And then you have Lex Fridman. It's heartbreaking to see a hit piece written about my friend, Andrew Huberman. I don't know Andrew Huberman, but that's his friend. And I like Lex Fridman. I agree and disagree with a lot of things. That's fine. I know him very well and can definitely say that he is a great human being, scientist and educator. That's true. He's decent so far. Some of the stuff doesn't add up. Just like I mentioned about the Dire CEO, huge following, podcaster. Alex Hormozy doesn't add up. I have a whole playlist on it. Go check it out. Ask questions, they don't answer because poor people lead them. They're just ruining a reputation. Really? If someone said something crazy, outlandish about me, I actually don't check basically. But if someone said, hey man, look at this video, definitely, respond to that. But I've been calling out Elliot Trades, 600,000 followers, Becker, millions of followers, all these big dudes, all shady history, totally documented step by step. I have a thread on it. They just keep growing. So these stuff gets buried, ladies and gents. That's all I'm telling you, okay? Huberman, the story is gonna get buried, forgotten. I mean, believe it or not. So I'm just letting you know, have an open mind and see what's happening. Because some information might not be relevant to you. And literally, sure, caffeine, bad, good. Alcohol, everything is bad, literally. But here I am, I guess. I'm not even bragging. Some people say, hey, why are you still alive? I don't know, man. I literally ask myself, like, why am I alive? I don't know, man. I probably have a purpose. And once that purpose dies, I guess my time will be up. I mean, death is the ultimate truth, man. Simple. A lot of people trying to manipulate this whatever system, hacking to whatever level to increase their age to 200 years? Sure, maybe it's possible. I don't know in which decade or century, right? With the AI, they're trying to make us a commando, basically. Yeah, half human, half robot. So if that's where you want to go, it's a total different thing. But I just feel the way we came to this world, naturally, right? That's how we go. Literally, dust to go to the dust. Simple. But the moment, again, I lose my purpose, my time will be up. So, ladies and gents, just wanted to give you my 2 cents on Andrew Huberman. I'll probably do a follow-up because I literally wanted to do a polished version. Right now, I'm just doing this impromptu at 4:52 a.m. and about to start fasting. Of course, Ramadan. But I've been doing intermittent fasting. Another thing, intermittent fasting. I've been doing it over years. And there was a time when I was lifting, working out every single day, climbing ropes and stuff while fasting, but I was not losing weight. I was still gaining to some extent because I was juicing. And I was like, hold on, what's happening? My blood was messy, blood level, elevated sugar. So I was like, the doctor, you having too much carb. Oh, okay, hold on. Because I do my blood works now, every now and then. Depends, right? Depends, my health insurance is a crisis. But every year I get the wellness check, at least. And this year I'm supposed to be. But whatever. The point is I do those things so I can actually document and see what happens, right? Because I was shocked that while doing alcohol for such a long time, I don't know what just happened, literally. It's kind of surprising. Yeah, this is real. It's real. It's just Crazy to even imagine. And everything is just literally time, which is, we are not patient enough. I'm not patient at times. I have ADHD to some extent. And obviously, yeah, you can manage. Sure, we all can manage. Okay? So take it easy. I might do a follow-up, but I don't know. All I can tell you is there'll be a lot of stuff you'll see. Like, look at this here. Man, I've got a few things that's coming up. Maybe stay tuned. But this is what it is. The funny part is that anyone who reads the New Yorker doesn't know who Huberman is, and anyone who knows who Huberman is doesn't read the New Yorker. That's true. It's gonna be forgotten. And I don't believe in the legacy media, all right? They will just find some weird stuff about the person. If he was dating somebody, 6 people at the same time, well, I can't comment on that, to be honest. But that's what it is. And yeah, I just wanted to give you my 2 cents. If you're really interested on the whole piece of the news, go mainstream. I'm not gonna give you that. All right, I'm out.